Okay, so today I'm excited to share my latest project with you. I get to refinish this beautiful old piano that I got at the Desert Industries thrift store, and I'm gonna show you a step-by-step tutorial on how to turn something old like this and make it look brand new. Now this needs a lot of love. It has dents and scratches, and I'm gonna show you how to fix those and add color and stain and make it fit your personality and match your home decor. So one of the first things you want to do when you're restoring or redoing a piano is to get wood filler and put it in deep dents and scratches, because you can't sand those off easily. And be generous with it, because you want to be able to have enough to sand off. It's better to have too much than not enough. And it looks really ugly right now, but you sand it off smoothly and you can't even tell. So when it comes to protecting the piano keys, there's a couple ways to do it. You can either take out each piano key, which is difficult, but if you're feeling ambitious and want to do that, that's great. Or what I like to do is I just put tape securely on all the keys, and I also do a second layer just to protect it, to make sure there's no dust or anything. Next, you're going to want to make sure all of the pedals are completely covered with tape. And while you're down here, make sure to grab the wheels too and cover those completely too. So the next thing I'm doing is taping off some accent pieces. I'm gonna leave the top part of the piano stained, and this part's going to be painted, so tape those off really well. So the next thing you're gonna do is sand that wood filler, because it's really clumpy and you need to sand it level to the wood that you're working on. So when I begin to paint my piano, I make sure that I have lots of different brushes available, because you'll want a medium one when you're cutting in to paint around the big areas. And then for those intricate areas, you're gonna want something small so that you can get right in there. And then for these large areas, I like to use a roller so you don't get any of those brush strokes or paint lines. So the paint that I'm using is called chalk paint. And it's not chalkboard paint. Some people get that confused. It's just a paint with some chalk in it. And it's really nice for furniture because you don't need to sand, you don't need to prime. But I would suggest sanding or priming if there's, big imperfections or something like that. Another tip is you don't want to go over chalk paint. You want to do like 1 or 2 strokes, smooth it out, and leave it alone, or else when you stroke, it will completely come off and you'll have to start over again. How you can fix that is just let it dry completely, lightly sand it, and then just go over it with another coat and it's fixed. Okay, another thing about chalk paint is when you do that first coat, it's gonna have imperfections and it's not gonna look completely covered. And so you're always gonna wanna do at least 2 coats. I'm gonna probably do 3 on this piano because it's a dark wood and I wanna make sure it's smooth and covered completely. So the next thing I'm gonna do is stain the top of the piano. And it's not like chalk paint. You need to sand it really well so that the stain will stay on. What I like to do is test a tiny area, and I just put wood conditioner on first and let it dry for a couple minutes. And then you can put the stain on. And if you want to try a few coats, then just let it dry in between so you'll get that true color and you'll know what the stain will look like. I like the look of this, so now I'm going to do the whole thing with the wood conditioner, let it dry, and then do the stain. So now let's move on to the bench. I'm going to reupholster this because I don't like the fabric that the original came with. And so I'm just going to pull off the staples, and then I'm gonna take the original fabric off and measure it with my new fabric, so it's really easy to measure and I'll know it will fit perfectly. So I took the bench apart and the foam was yucky. So we're gonna replace it with brand new foam. And I'm gonna give you a tip because I saw the lady at the fabric store do this and I thought it was genius. So to cut this thick foam, you grab your kitchen electric knife, and I'm just gonna slice it right off. And we have a clean cut, and that's how easy it is. So now, since the foam was too short, I'm just gonna quickly measure this part, cut it off, and glue gun it to this so it's the right size. So I found this gorgeous new fabric I'm gonna use, and a tip is to grab the old fabric that came with the original bench and measure it to that So then you have the right size and you don't have the headache of trying to measure the foam and everything. So I'm just gonna slice down, and now we have the size we need. Now we're gonna staple the fabric on, but I also glued the foam in place before I tipped it over so it would stay and it wouldn't wiggle and it would be nice. And you want it tight, you don't want it loose or it doesn't look very good. If you don't have a staple gun, you can use a hammer and nail too, that will work. I had the greatest time repurposing this piano, giving it chalk paint, stain, distressing, reupholstering, and giving it a whole new look. You wouldn't even recognize that it was the same piano. And it was so much fun to create. As a DIY blogger, the #1 question that I get asked is, what is your favorite project, or what is your favorite thing that you've created? And I usually say Christmas trees because I just love decorating Christmas trees. But I honestly can say this is my new favorite project, and I love how it turned out, and I'm actually looking to restore another piano. A lot of people get nervous to restore pianos because they're afraid that it's gonna affect the sound or ruin it. But if you follow the tips and tricks along the way that I've showed you, it won't affect the sound, and you'll have a gorgeous piano that will match your home decor. Thank you so much for watching.